Alright. Hey, alright, so how's it going? It's been a while. Welcome back. Hey, gotta remember to have fun with it. I gotta keep that forefront. If I can have a little bit of fun when I make these videos, I might as well. Alright, I was on vacation, went back, and a couple things have changed. I've got both of the... both of the games up behind me. So while I was on vacation, Godot entered into 4.4, which is the newest update to Godot. It's got a bunch of new features that I really like, and I say I really like it because I have been using it for the past week, and I ported the game from 4.3 to 4.4. The reason why I did this is because I was at a point where I could have continued working on what I was doing and gotten through the full loop like I really wanted to, but I realized that there was that clunkiness of actually interacting with the game. Part of that was the WASD controls, and I've been thinking about changing it from WASD to a strictly mouse-based point-and-click interface, and realizing that if I did that, I would have to completely change out the script and the way that it was written so that it would use a raycast from the camera to the mouse cursor to pick up where the mouse cursor was on the screen, so I would know when it was, so you could tell the character where to move. And you can see here on the left I have the 4.4, the new version that I'm using, and here's the old one. And you can just see still has a new navigation agent mesh, and so basically a beam is shot from the camera in the scene, whichever camera it is shot from here, and then to where the mouse is basically in the world space. It gets that information and it tells the character where to move based on a navigation agent that's built in with the Godot engine. It's part of it, so I don't have to write any of that stuff. It just comes baked in. The old way was that you used your WASD and it would move the character around the screen that way, and then you would press other keyboard controls to interact with items. Now everything is a click with a mouse, right mouse button or left mouse button, and the character moves based on where you click it. That was one of the main reasons why I decided to port it over there, was because Godot 4.4 has a couple really nice features which I was really excited to use. If you look in the 3D space now, if we go, it has these different cameras, and in the inspector now, your camera, so it's much easier to place cameras and see where they work, which is really nice. Another thing that is really nice is if you pull open when you're playing the actual game, so you can see here it's all mouse click now, and all the items interact based on distance to character, and then if the mouse is hovering over. But one of the other nice things about moving from 4.3 to 4.4 is I can now, inside the game world, click on items to find them. If I need to interact with them, I can see where they are. I can go into a camera mode, which lets me freely move around in the game world, and then switch back, all without ever leaving the game state. This is just so much more helpful than 4.3. It's a game changer in the way that the workflow works. There's also other things I'm learning about and finding as I use the engine that are just small quality of life improvements that make working on it a little bit better and a little bit faster. So I'm really happy I decided to port over. But in that refactoring, importing everything over, because I changed the way that the character controller was, and that was the initial start, I knew that the interaction would change with everything in the game, and so I've been rewriting all the different code that goes along with that. I should pull that back open. And so because I've been rewriting all the code, I've been able to get it so that there's a new inventory. I haven't hooked any of the buttons up yet, but setting it up so that there's a new questionnaire, and then setting up so everything works within that confines. I did have a couple things I'm pretty happy with that I've set up. So I have this camera rail with all the different cameras here, and they are each indexed, and then in the game, it's got these camera indexes, and so now when I change cameras, it just goes through this array, and you throw in whatever index number it is, and we'll change that camera, and then we'll update that index number to a scene controller and tell the raycast, hey, change a camera, shoot ray from this camera now, basically. And so I set that up so that it happens without me having to do anything. I just have to update the cameras in the scene, and it should work. I also updated the way that the questionnaire works, and I just got this working, which I'm so happy I did. But I now have a main menu, and inside that menu scene I have questionnaires, and then inside that questionnaire scene, each of these questionnaires now will be whatever basically looks like this when it's not filled, and these questionnaires have attached to them this player inventory and this array. And so this is the questionnaire list, and as they pick up and gather the different items, it fills in there. But the thing that I'm really happy with is, so the thing that I really like is this is its own scene, so I can just create a new scene when I need the next questionnaire. All I have to do is then go in and put whatever, have this inventory, put an inventory in here, and whatever that inventory is will automatically populate what should go in these slots. And so whatever order it is in the array in that inventory will populate the order of the slots. So slot 1, 2, and 3 will populate 1, 2, and 3, and then that's the answer. So then as the player picks up the things, as long as he can pick up these items, I can populate the questionnaire, and then I can just reuse that for every questionnaire. And so figuring out how to make that reusable from scratch, just rolling my own, was a huge achievement. I'm super proud of that because it was, I did it on my own. It also uses arrays, which I'm still beginning to understand how to navigate them and the different ways that you can use them. One thing like here for this set label function, we have this array that just has all the different slots, and then it goes in and I have a minimum length of the questionnaire inventory, which is this one, and then the length labels, and just getting the range between those two so that it knows how many of the actual labels it needs to set. So there's 6 labels, but there's only 3 items. It's only going to set 3 labels, and then I have it set up so that the rest of the labels, they disappear. So if they're not being used, you don't see them, you don't have to worry about them. And then this guy up here, that's just the transfer label, so that when you pick up the various things, there's a label that you can see the transfer of the stuff. So that's where the game's at now. That was a large part of what I've been working on over this past week, is just moving things from 4.3 to 4.4, getting all this stuff done. And then another thing that I did this week is I finally got Linux through WSL up and running on my computer. I'm really interested in switching over from Microsoft to something a little bit more controllable, and so I got Ubuntu up and running, and it took me 2 lunches of just struggling in PowerShell to try to figure out why it wasn't working. It's because I had to use WSL version 1 so I can get it online, so I can update things and pull down libraries and things off Git. So with that up and running, I'm hopefully going to start to try to see how Linux is, at least Ubuntu as an operating system, or just using it to try to start navigating things, get a little more comfortable with that aspect of my computer. I also have been still working on going through the book of shaders. So HSV, canvas item. This one actually know what's going on there. And then rotating color wheel are the other 3 things I was working on in shaders. Slowly trying to keep working on this once again so I can familiarize myself with how they work, so I start to understand the way that they work at understanding, so I can construct them from the ground up. Right now, if you said make this, I would have such a hard time trying to figure out how to do it without following the book of shaders. But if you show it to me, I understand what's happening in the code enough that I probably couldn't recreate it, because it has this wicked HSB to RGB conversion. But this part, the radius and the spinning thing, I understand that better. So that is what I have been up to this past week in Godot and programming and the prototype. Not a whole lot with the prototype as far as new stuff. I want to get that first loop inside that room done. That's hopefully next week. We'll see. I'm going to Maine next week. And then, yeah, so not a whole lot of time to work on side projects as I do have a bunch of other stuff going on. I will be... I'll be playing Lorelei and the Laser Eye Sunday at 7. Come check it out. That game is absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. It is. I'm having so much fun with it. It does so many of the things that I enjoy and look for in a puzzle game. Check it out Sunday. It's tons of fun. 7 p.m. Texas time. I think it's Eastern or Central or whatever. And hopefully I see you there. Bye.